Okay, what's going on, Grand Rising? Today is Wednesday, March 18th, 2026. And what we're going to be looking at is the MNQ market, futures market, a little bit of dollar index, QQQ, and then some biases on gold. All right, because we were looking for gold to fall over and to go to the sell side, and it did, so that was pretty good. And then the news that came out this morning injected more shorts, which pushed us, as you guys can see, even farther away from the initial balance in the daily open. So this daily candle filled this gap that we were looking forward to here at 25,200, and then has reversed back into the range. So we'll see what we get here. I'm gonna take a few notes, and then I'll go over exactly what I'm wanting to see here on MNQ, and then we'll look at the overall market from perspective of dollar index and then the other futures. Okay. So I need to make sure and mark the 730, because 730 was also that news price. So that injected more traders into the markets here. Now today, I'm not going to mark the news price, only being because it's essentially the same price as the, like if you go and look at like a 15 here, the news price is exactly in alignment with daily open. So I already have that here as a note on my stuff. What's good? What's going on, Josh? Good morning. So yeah, we'll get into the breakdown here by 8:20. I need to take a few notes myself, and then we'll go into it. Massive capitulation open. You just gotta think the high on day right now is like 25,210. All right, so I would anticipate some short covering here in this fair value gap on the 4 hour, but I'm gonna wait till the equity's open. Now, if you're already in that position, I will say that too. If you're already in that position, okay, I know what that was. Yeah, if you're already in that position, it may not be a bad one, right? When you're looking at, let me see here real quick. When you're looking at the 15.5, right? That's the type of position I really like to take. And then you look at a 1 minute. But now the only problem is for me is I would rather just be in alignment with equities open, and that way I think it would, it would work out better for me, right? Because a lot of times they'll just wipe this low and then they'll go here. And once they reach down, we go back over here really quick. When they reach down, a lot of the times into a little bit lower of an area, so I need to go ahead and mark that as well. 24.850. Okay. 24.850 half level. All right, psychological level. Or this could be, to me, this could be the low of day. Let me finish these notes and then we'll go over that. Okay. Pretty good. What's good? Good morning, Chris. Looking forward. She might already be on the move, guys. I will say that. We'll look at all the assets here really quick. That imbalance fill, that key level for me, 24,900 was a key level I talked about in my review from last night. If we were to come down into that fair value gap and fill that area, I felt like it was an interesting level. Open it. Okay, so one more minute and then we'll go over the bias here to 25. Price fell off. And we're getting ready to start the overview here just really quick. I'm just taking a few notes myself. Okay. Under price could be already on the move. Just depends. It looks pretty good. That was the fair value gap I wanted to see filled. So. Okay. Okay, so we'll go into it here really quick. Give me 1 second. Run that window. Okay, so alrighty, guys. So looking at the price already, this is the area that I wanted to see. Left monitor. Okay, cool. This is the area that I wanted to see from a higher time frame perspective on NQ. Now, when price falls super fast, for me personally, I really like that because that means that shorts are going to cover faster. And so what you're already seeing if you look at the intraday timeframes is that 15-minute type of setup that we want inside of a 1 hour fair value gap, right? 15-minute fair value gap. They already got a 15-minute dump candle, a sign of strength, and they have a 5-minute mitigation on the right side of that 15-minute sign of strength candle. Now, me personally, it's up to the trader, but you want to start sticking to a certain plan. If you tell yourself, hey, I'm not taking trades till equity's open, then don't take trades till equity's open, right? Even if it presents itself, like this, like the V-shaped recovery that we want to see on higher time frame, you don't have to take it, right? There was, like I said, a pretty good area in here that I did think was pretty nice. Now, maybe you take it on CFD and you just don't take it on futures, you know what I mean? But I felt like there was a really good area. There was a 1 minute mitigation that basically played out right there in that 8:15 a.m. time that possibly could go ahead and push us back to daily open. Okay. And so, like, looking at the 15 and the 5, it looks pretty good, but I wouldn't say before equities that I would take it. Now, at equities open, if they start to create like a FOMO, and like basically expansion candles on 15.5, the imbalances inside those candles most likely will be bullish continuation areas that we could take back up to the opening of the day. Now, just remember, like I said, the news is in alignment with that open. So 25026 is the same thing as like the 730 news right here that injected more shorts into the market. Okay. And so one thing that I'm really focused on going into today, like looking at the intraday range of the day, is where the high of day is, which is this initial balance high, 25,210, and now our low is here. Okay. How I was taught to trading is if you take a tennis ball and you drop it, it'll hit the ground and bounce, and by its momentum, it should carry it back up to about 50% of a range. Okay, so like getting back above the daily open area here, just literally right above that wick, 25,029, that would be realistic for me to see them do today. If they're going to continue short though still, right? Like if they're going to continue short here at New York and it just rolls over, that's kind of wild. But like because of where the scoop high is to where the scoop low is, I could see them holding this back to initial balance, maybe peaking above daily before they roll over again, if they're bearish. Now, if we're back to, finding some bullish support here at this level, right? Looking at the higher time frame, I think we could still come down just a little bit more into these 850s, right? But if we start to find that bullish support here to then go up to, not last week's high, but just the high on day, then you're looking at 24,900 up to 25,002. That's quite a bit of points. Okay. So, but worst case, right? Because we still have, it's only Wednesday. We still have, this will be Friday, would be the close. I can anticipate something like this, right? That goes like this into there and then comes back and then starts to roll back into lower parts of the week, right? But we've been in a range, so I'm not going to try to guess or do anything like that. I'm just kind of giving you guys an idea of like the perspective from the higher time frame perspective. Okay, and then really quick, we'll go to all of them. I have them all marked up. Obviously, they're all pushing back. As you can see, like ES here, this is that previous day low. This is our high now, and now we're back into demand, right? YM, low to high, back into demand, okay? So they're all relatively in the same structure, and now it's just about the responses that you should get based on who's in profit, right? And if shorts, right, you're going to see a 4-hour wick, right, in a 1 hour dump, 15 5-minute mitigations. If if it's starting to wick away from an imbalance area like this, most likely if I'm in a position like this, right, and I'm short from 25 100 all the way down to 24 9, I would hope that you've trailed risk or you're starting to cover your position. And remember, like I said, the only way for you to get out of a sell position is for you to set a buy limit at like an old low, right? Because that's going to be essentially be your TP, or you're going to see something going against your favor and you're going to press buy by market. That's what people do. Okay, so we'll see what we get. That's all I'm going to really kind of go over for what I'm kind of seeing, because like I said, on intraday I do believe we're already starting to kind of make our way up. So let's see what we get, and trade safe. Amen. Okay, we're ready here to go. Also, really quick, QQQ is getting ready to open up inside of a fair value gap in the 600 level, 601.50s, 601.60s. So if it opens in the fair value gap and doesn't show signs that it's going to go for the equal lows at 599, then it's just going to be a mitigation play. Okay, and that's what we're starting to see already here. Okay, so about 2 minutes out, let's see what we can get. I really think that we're gonna get some good price into this, back into the initial balance, but I do kind of like how they've already taken off, but no FOMO. There's gonna be a chance. All right, 8:28. Take a little drink of coffee. Yo, what's going on, Tay? I just seen you in there. Let's see. I love capitulation before a before an equities open. Yeah, now it just comes down to timing. Like, playing before equities open is kind of like just the same as playing in the first 15 minutes. You have to have a specific, like, if I took a trade before equities open, I'm definitely covering the position because most likely it's manipulation. We want the flush on liquidity so that we can play with that as well. There's definitely already 1 to 3s off that level though, for sure. I'll say that. I'm watching ES over here in YM. Now the one thing is as price moves up close to initial balance, right, and this 5 minute supply here, if it just starts to reject in that area, then they could roll it over and then go first. But I am watching this area here tightly. Let's see how that first minute closed. Bear. First minute closed bearish, so let's see. So because essentially, like, you want to be careful in this first part because this is a 5-minute FEG, so we want to make sure we understand that too. All right. So we'll stay locked here. I like how they're playing right here though as well, so I'm gonna be watching tightly. Remember, if I put the box up, I am like identifying the area, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna take the trade. I'll let you guys know if I'm gonna take it. I do kind of like the upside on smaller time frames. I'm just kind of eyeballing where I would get in. If it already takes off, it already takes off. I mean, I'm not gonna force it. You know what I mean? But I am looking at this area a little bit on smaller time frames. ES finding some strength. YM's finding some strength back to IB. So I'm looking under New York Open on 1 minute. But just remember, we're still inside this 5-minute FEG. ES looks pretty good. Let's see. I like this New York Open area, guys. Just gotta see though. First 5 minutes of the candle and that FEG is interesting. But I like how the 1 minute's starting to build. Watching ES 6750s. I think I'm gonna attempt these New York Opens, guys. Let's see here. I'm looking at the timing. If you like it, take it. It's a good area. I feel like. Just be careful because we are in the FEG. So if we're wrong, right? And that's just a part of it. So. No more coffee. If we start seeing 5-minute strength, and there's a good chance, like above the 950s, and there's a good chance that this will push above. But they're still inside that FEG, so I think they could always still roll a little bit lower. Good 5-minute close right there. Let's see if they find strength immediately, because they're showing strength inside the fair value gap, which is good. All right, so like I said, we wanted to get just above daily open if this plays out. It's still early though. ES looks strong on excuse me, on 15 here at the 6750, so that's a good sign. But they're still inside that 5-minute FEG. I like how the 15-minute looks though, right? That looks like a great candle to play back to IB. So now the question will be is when they get inside here, the supply candle, they open, can they push through this and go above to the 25,000 level pretty strong, or are they going to kind of reject here? But if they can push it quick, as you can see here on the 15, we'll push back into the initial balance and close to daily, and that's a good sign. ES starting to find some strength above 67.50, it seems like, but I'll have to look a little bit closer here in a second. Yeah, so this is I do have the comparison. Cool. So you have ES right here in a very similar area, all right? Doing the same thing essentially. All right, but we look a little stronger here on YM on NQ. Nice little push right there. Okay. Yeah, that's a pretty good area, bro. We'll see if this they can break structure now. It's all we're looking for is a 5-minute break of structure, and I think we have a good chance to at least pull out a partial, and then we can walk away from this thing. Looks pretty good. It needs to break through the supply. Okay, so like this is what we're looking at the low end of a trade. We've gotten through the fair value gap, right? But can they break through this area with some violence? Okay. All right, because this will be when we're done trading is 11:15. So if they start to respect that area, right, they could roll it over. But I'd like to see this 15 reach back into IB at least. That looks pretty good to do today. I'm watching small time frames over here. Let's see if they can get the pump here. Now, to plot this position, I would say too, we'll look at higher time frames. I just want to show that really quick. All right, when you go and you look at this on a higher time frame, let me go back to here. I guess it wasn't. When you go like this, say if you got New York open, all right, and then you go back to here, you can see that that's an okay entry. It could be better. A little bit lower would be better, I would say. But let me look at the 4 hour. But when you look at a 4 hour too, right, it's a wick entry. Okay, so just depends on what you're looking for, I guess, too. But it is kind of rejecting in that supply. So we would need to see 5-minute strength here, or this could roll over. Looks pretty good on the 15, but we'll see here. Okay, so this 5-minute open will be key because this will be the end of the 15-minute candle. So do they have the juice to push the IB low? That's what we want to see. Ooh. That 5-minute looks pretty good. We just really want to see, like I said, on a line graph perspective, price go above this high right here, so the 85s. All right, guys. You guys should have a partial on board at least by now. Mine just hit. Bang. Let's go. All right, so you can move your stops to break even if you have anywhere close to that New York Open, or like I would say 24,940s, because we don't know if this is going to continue to push through the 1 to 5 and through back up to the highs. But now remember, like I said, the high on day, which is the initial balance high here, right, down to the low of day, tennis ball drop, you want to see a push back up to the 50% of the range, right? So we've already almost got back inside the initial balance. Now can we get back to daily open? That's the question now. And so when you're looking at both of these, right, if you're trading ES with me here, it's doing the same thing, right? You have the initial balance high, you have a new low on day, and you have shorts that are covering, right, their positions, which is making buy orders fill in the marketplace. Does that kind of make sense on that part? And so we're already back to initial balance on NQ, which is looking strong, and then ES is trying still, so that's a good sign to me as well. Okay. Let's go, guys. Regardless, you should be break even with a partial. Now, this is that spot, this blue line is that initial balance high. So we want to see price push through the initial balance high. We want to see it close through the low end supply with a bullish candle here in a minute and 54 seconds. Because if it does not do that, right, on the remainder of that trade, the chances of price rolling over go up. And then you need to know where your, you need to know where your New York low is, which this is our New York low. Where is it at? Sorry. Okay, still watching that, right? So cool. Still got a partial. So New York low, and then you want to know where your low of day. The initial balance low is here. Let me make sure I'm watching this. The initial balance low is here, and now the new low of day is here because we made a new low after that. So cool. Price came back, right? It's respected the supply. So I'm gonna move these out of the way just really quick because I'm gonna be looking on small time frames for maybe positions. Well, right now I'm just holding my position, but if it comes back to the break even, I still might be looking for a position, but we might look for that low of day sweep and to come into 24,850. But like I said, should have closed a partial at least, okay? Yeah, YM looks weak right now. I'm looking at it on my left here. It looks terrible. It looks terrible. But we saved ourselves, right? We got a small partial on the board. You should have a small partial on the board at least. All right, let me be patient here. And I'm just kind of framing up this area. There's potential to go higher still again. I'm watching like small time frames, like 1 minute. I'm watching that 5 minute price here in 15. Yeah, it came back to the break even on the remainder after the partial hit. So that's why I'm looking for possible another position, but I want to see specific price on the 15 and 5 to play up to like 25.050. But right now I'm still looking at this area like this as well. Just want to kind of show this until we start to show some strength. But this is starting to show me that area. Sorry guys, pay attention here. I'll let you guys know if I'm going to shoot at it here. It's looking pretty good though to do. Like right in here. Let me mark that, sorry. Oh man, it took off a little bit. Oh shit. It kind of took off a little bit there, but I was wanting to get it like right in here. Like so I could have been in alignment with this 15-minute, but I missed that shot unfortunately. But that definitely was the area. It looks like ES starting to find its footing too, right? See how it's starting to find that area, pushing back into IB, and we're starting to play in IB now. So we'll see. I'm watching this on smaller time frames here. Because we still got a lot of room to go back up to this key level, 25 120s. What I really want to see is if is a body going to close above this low end supply area, because if it does, that's more confirmations to play back up to 25 1. Looks like YM's turning on now from that 15.5 from New York. I'm going back to IB, so that's a good sign. And then we have about a minute 54 on this candle. So real quick, I want to show this while we're waiting here for a second. Is all three are moving, right? And you all have dump candles that have initial balance lows. So the one thing that you can see on NQ is we've already reached that initial balance low. So you just got to be careful. Now there is a fair value gap right here on that 15-minute right below here, but the way they filled it on the 5 makes me think that there'll be a continuation, but I'm going to watch very tightly here. Because we've already hit IB, so we don't have to go any higher at this point. Okay, I'm watching here on 5. I'm pretty sure it's like the 960 area. I'm watching this 5-minute close. Let's see. It looks pretty good off those 1-minute price, but just not seeing it here. It's 5 minutes getting ready to close. Let's see if it closes. If it closes bullish, like right over that black candle, I think there could be like an NCE, so like a next candle entry. But I'm gonna watch it very tightly here. Bullish close. So it can come right into that 5-minute area, and let's see how it plays. Watching ES, hasn't reached IB yet. I'm not in this trade here yet. I'm watching the reaction here. Okay. If I buy it, I'll say I'm gonna buy it, which is looking pretty good on 5. Just watching this 1-minute reaction. It looks pretty good, guys. I might go long here. I'll let you know. Watching that 15 as well. kind of high with that imbalance on the 15, but we'll see. One minute's just not showing it yet. Still waiting. I'm basically wanting to see this 1 minute turn around like right here like that. Let me see. Okay. So if it starts to turn around and show me a bullish candle, then I'd like to start to play that right side. But if it doesn't, then that's basically what I'm looking at on small time frames. But I like to keep 15.5 in front of me so that I can watch small here on the execution window. So that looks like it's invalid. So I would wait for them to push back into this area if it's gonna go up. But because of that initial balance low rejection, that's still a good sign that they could roll over. Okay, but I'm gonna be watching from, excuse me, move this too. I'm gonna be watching from like down in here where that New York low is, because breakout shorts might attempt to try to trade there. But right now we have one trade on the board where we were able to squeeze out that 1.5R, and then we're looking for possible continuations. Also, as you guys can notice, this was a 24,980 level, right? So price rejected at an 80 level. Okay. Just being patient. We could see that roll over to 24.8, so I might end up looking for pullback, pullback shorts, right? So if it starts to do a certain thing, I might look for something to the downside here. Okay, but like right now, I'm still favoring that's pushing up. Okay, let me lock in here. God, gotta have it marked over here for you guys. So we're still gonna be eyeballing this area and then looking for small time price action to possibly be working out here. Now, depending on how this 5 minute candle closes, if it closes bearish, then like I said, I might look for that extension down from 950 to the lows. But the way they're still kind of holding this on 15 and H1, we'll see. And ES still looks pretty good compared to MQ right now. So, all right, locked in here locked in on these 950s. Okay. So I'm gonna move this down just slightly because the 1 minute looks interesting from 950s. What time is it? Oh, okay, cool. My feet are cold. It's kind of breaking down though, so that's okay. That sell side move could be in from the initial balance low rejection, but I'm not. It would fall faster. So, and ES still looks pretty strong. Okay. That 5 minute candle did close bearish, but it's like the structure didn't just drip. So that's why I'm gonna stay focused right here, okay? I like these 750s. Let me check ES. Okay. We'll see though. Be impatient, because that is like I said, that 5 minute candle pushing lower is a sign of weakness, but it depends on how this 1 minute is going to play at the 950s. Ooh, it's cold. Let me check my 4-hour. My 4-hour seems like a wick too, so I'd rather see it push out of the area. But it easily could, because of this close. That's why I said we're not in a trade right now. We're just looking to see how this candle is gonna react. But if they went lower low with that 5-minute, they could break lower. But we'll see, right? Because they'll have to get down into this level, and I'll have to see what they do if they get to the New York low. Right now, the 1-minute price is starting to break down, so this is about to become invalid. But I'm still gonna wait because this could be a dump candle. Oh, it's cold. My legs are tight. Now, if this 5-minute candle closes bearish, though, then I'd be like, those lows are probably going to get short. So I'm going to be patient. Yeah, we got 1.5 secured, but just waiting. Okay, so that looks invalid. So what they're starting to do to me, well, it's not invalid yet. It's not invalid yet. What they're starting to do, though, with this candle supply, they're kind of making it like this in the same situation, right? So but I want to see them close below New York here first. Okay, ES is starting to look weak from 67.55, and then YM rejected the 180 level really well. Okay, stay locked in here. Okay, let's see. I personally like the buy side guys for the 750s, but let's see here. I'm waiting on this 1 minute to close and see if there's an NCE. Okay. So what would make this better is if this 5-minute candle closes bullish. So we'd want to know kind of like where that is. So let's say it closes here. Oh, snap. I just want to be on the right side of that dump. For the continuation. So it pushed down into those 950s or any at all, I feel like is a good trade to go higher. Let's see. Let's see how it plays out here on the 5. They're starting to roll a little bit. Let's see. I like these 960s as well. But let's see. to just wait. I'm not, like I said, I'm still just identifying the area. I'm not sitting here saying get in yet. But I do like this 950 area possibly. I'm watching ES at 6750s. Alright, I'm gonna attempt the, let's see here. Just waiting. I'm gonna attempt the 750s, guys, here. Okay. Okay, let's see. So everything's set for here. Okay. So we had that 1.5, and then this is a 1 hour risk from the 950s. That supply on the 5 minutes acting really strong. That doesn't look like that one's gonna work. Let's see. We're getting close. That one's a scratch for me. So we have the 1.5 secured, and then we have the 1R just taken. So I'm up about 0.5. So I'll still look to shoot still here. But again, I just want to say this. Since we've hit the initial balance low, we've kind of rejected those 980s. And then we have the 5 minute supply here that they failed to get above, which is the 980s. So that low a day might be revisited here, which is fine, because then we can wait for either a demand play that plays out perfect, or what I do anticipate is for price to roll over to low there. So YM just rolled new lows. So let's see. Be patient here. Because the 4 hour and 1 hour area of this still look interesting for me. So I'm going to be watching this pretty tight here, guys, still. Oh, snap. Are they trying to take off without me again? I'm just going to be eyeballing this area from New York Open 1 to 3. Right around this area. Okay, so like somewhere in here. Now I'm watching small time frame, just kind of see, because that rejection off New York Open was perfect, but I'd want my entry below New York, so I'm just kind of watching how the 1 minute's going to play right here. Great 15-minute demand tap at the point of interest too. Let's see how this 5 minute closes. If it closes and pushes away, then we'll see. But just the 4 hour. So closer to this 5 minute open at this point, watching small time frames. Wicking. I kind of like the 42s, but I'm just trying to see a little bit more sign of strength. The small time frames, like 1 minute, looks pretty good, but we'll see. Let's see how this 5 minute closes. First 15 minutes. ES looks weak, so, and the signal's not showing itself on 1 minute, so this could become invalid. I'm just watching this area to see if they were going to turn it. Okay, that 1 minute looks better right here. If we can get like an NCE off the 940s, like that 1 minute can go up and close and then make like a mitigation formation, I might take that entry. Okay, let's see. I like those 950s again, the same price that we had looked at. If they can turn it around here, let's see. The 940s were better because that 1 minute looked really good, but this area could work if they don't push it lower. So if you got like 940s, great. But it just depends on how this 5 minute candle wants to close here in 2 minutes. But I do think if you're in right now, like I'll show it from the 1 minute perspective, if you're in from down here at 940s, great. If you took it at 950s, your stop would probably go below this low, and it's either going to go or it's not, essentially. But I like it. I mean, that's the area. I took that area, so got my partial set for 25,000 whole level. So if this 5 minute can really respond well, and that's the reason why I had it right here and not New York Open, is because it already tapped New York Open. So I like to at least buy the 5 minute candles open and then have my risk right under that candle if it's going to be the right one. Okay. And so if you're in this trade, awesome. I think it could work out, but we need to see 5 minute strength really turn on here and go break above this wick high. Right. So we break above this wick high here, you're going to grab another partial. That'll be two 1.5s, which makes 3, right? And then we might be off to the races for, back above daily high here. We'll see. It really comes down to how this 5 minute wants to close. If this 5 minute and 1 minute closes higher than this, so like than these highs, going into 11:15 a.m. All right, if it closes higher like that, like it is right now, let me do this really quick, sorry. That's a sign of strength on price action to me, and I can see that on a 15 now as they're turning on, right? So we rejected initial balance, and now we're pushing back towards it again. So that means anyone that possibly sold here, they might be coming for them if it pushes up. It hasn't pushed up yet, so you need the 5 minute candle to close, like I said, here in 50 seconds, or that's going to just roll over. And that supply becomes resistance, essentially. Let's see. See the comparativeness here real quick. ES respecting a very similar level, which is good. All right, on a 15. So let's see if they can, it looks kind of weak though. Let's see if they can do that here. 5 minute candle opens and still inside that demand. That's a little tricky. Unless it just turns on immediately, because of how this 15 minute candle only has 5 minutes left. So we'll see here. That initial balance high could be the resistance of the day. Possible demand, we don't know. Just kind of watching inside that candle on small time frames to see if they're gonna run it or what they'll do. Now you might have, like, if they respect this New York Open again, that's gonna be interesting. Gonna move that box. I can't really see actually. I had 44s, so we'll see. So 44, is that close? Pretty close. Just watching it, huh? Coming into that 915, oh, it's getting close for me. ES looks weak back into that 15-minute supply, or excuse me, demand as well. So just watching that 15 over 2. $32. It's looking kind of weak today. We'll see. They're digging into that 15-minute area, which is interesting, but what's that at 31s? Yeah, YM's at key level 47,000. And let's see. Just watching how they respond here at New York. $5 looks pretty aggressive. It's close. So that's a scratch for me on that one. So, which is fine. But looking at like I said, looking at this area, that initial balance and that 5-minute supply, they don't want to take it higher right yet. But I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm still got my eyes still in this area, but I want to see if they're gonna slip that low day. Because ES and NQ have, or ES and YM fell to those higher time frame areas that we talked about pre-New York. So those 4 hours are just kind of digging into a little bit lower. Let me see here. Okay. Make sure I mark a lower day. Take some notes here. Okay, so I'm going to be locked in here too, okay? Because they like to turn it around like right in here. On this 5-minute dump type candle. Okay, because like what this will turn into sometimes, I like how it is right here, excuse me, is it can turn into a good position if you're just using that 5-minute low. If 1-minute price starts to give you like mitigations to the right side because of the location of where you're at on the 15, right? Everyone thought with that 15-minute candle, they should just start selling to get to the lows, and then price can reverse back to then eventually go back to that target we looked at. But I mean, those lows are very doable. But it's just where it's at on the 15 and how it got down there. So just looking for 1 minute price to show me some strength, and then I would say that that area attacking back to this high that we wanted, 25,000, looks really good. Okay, because what it's going to turn into is it's a 15-minute midi, and it's going to turn into a 1 hour wick if it actually pushes back up super fast. We're just so close to the lows though. But like I said, the 15-minute area looks interesting here. Just trying to watch and see here. The only other area I'd like outside of like this 15-minute area, I would say, would be if they go under low of day. That'd be a pretty good area. But the 900 level is what I was looking at here on 1 minute. But no 5-minute strength right now. You'd like to see at least one 5-minute candle print too, like at least some kind of strength. But if you like that 1 minute 900 level, I think that that's an okay level. It's just there might be heavy. Let me check the 4 hour here. That 4 hour actually looks heavier now than it did. But let's see. Yeah, YM's on a free fall, bro. That's a pretty crazy one. I'm gonna plot these 900s really quick. Just want to see what they look like on that higher time frame really quick. If this can start to turn into a 1 hour wick, then it'll be nice. Like something like this. Alright, when you go in there and it starts to wick away from that 1 hour really quickly, then that's gonna be a good sign that that's a 15-minute mitigation. You'd want to see in this 50 seconds though, this 5-minute close bullish, and then just start to build on the right side of this dump. Because if it just rejects the fair value gap essentially right here below New York, then that's what makes it slide over to take the low of day. So let's see how this candle closes. Like I said, I like the 15-minute location if that's what they're wanting to do inside that fair value gap from earlier. The 5-minute closes above that New York low line. It's a little lower. It closed bullish, but it was still below the line, so it's got to turn on right here if it's going to break out of this midi area. Remember, always have your 1.5 set in a situation like this, in case price rallies fast either way. But that 5 minutes not really showing me the strength I like all the way. My risk is 85s because they filled me at 905s, so it shows 87, but I don't feel like moving it right now because I'm trying to watch. Looks pretty weak on 15. 5 looks kind of weak. Let's see. Small time 1 minute price broke structure lower, so it's probably gonna roll. I got close. Let's see here if they turn it on or not. ES 15 minute did make a lower low, so we've got divergence, we've got higher low here on NQ, and then we've got a lower low on ES. That's why I'm kind of interested in this 900 level. Oh, that came from the 85 levels? Damn. So, okay, so if it did come for that, did it? Let me look. No, it didn't. Okay. It's like, I thought it did. Went to 87. Okay, cool. I was like, what the heck? So I'm still waiting for what's going to happen here. That was close though. Very close. It filled me at 905, so that's what I wanted to, I forgot to, I don't know if I haven't moved it on here, sorry. Yeah, still looking kind of weak. It was so close to that 95. Okay, so the entry is at 90, so 05, sorry. That's where mine is. Like, I was trying to give you guys that area. With the 905s. Right, let's just say it in here. And the risk is sitting at like 95. Why is it showing this? Oh, okay, 80s. Sorry. 5 minutes just don't look as heavy though still. I mean, from that 900 level, if you took anything in 900s, those 5 minutes are rolling over. That 15 is not looking very middleful at this point. So I'm not seeing it right now. Yeah, so that one's not gonna work. Not seeing that yet. Maybe if they can, like I said, the only one that I'm looking for now is if they go to 820s, because that would put us in a good area under low day. But they're not showing it on the 1 minute there. Yeah, you can catch rollover sells in that too. I just got a message about that. Yeah, you can catch the rollover sell if you like. I'll explain that too. Like if you can't find this area and then you're looking for a rollover sell on higher time frame. Let me write this down here. Sorry. I may or may not look for that next one. I might just accept it because I did have the overnight trade too. So I may or may not, like I said. I really like price to go for that low of day. That would be really, really nice. Okay. Or for that previous day low, that would be like ideal. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like I said, for me, I might be done just for today, just because I don't know if I'm gonna wait for that previous day low. I like this push right now. This looks trash down here, so that previous day low looks really good if you're on the short side. It was more forceful for me. After I had got out of that buy, I literally just took a very quick short to that position, but I didn't call that one out, so I can't really vouch for that one right now. But I will just show it here really quick. As soon as that level was delivered, I basically just come in and I shorted the 1 minute area. Okay, so it's just shorting my stop loss was delivered. Price gave me the lower low, lower high right at the same time, and then bam, just shot down. So, but I didn't call that one out. So. So I still want to get those buys, buy two. So I'm buying two of them back right now. So it reduces that down. Yeah, 15.5 here. Okay, as far as price action is, when do you notice which biases? I'll show it here in a second. I'll explain that I'll explain it because basically when I know a demand level is gonna fail and I have an entry that's pretty good, what I noticed though, one thing is that 5 minute candle closure is lower low right here with that order I had. So at that point, you could basically, if you get stopped out on that 5 minute play, that next 5 minute candle, you could sell the open of that candle, being in the 50% of the 15 minute supply to go down to the next demand. So it just depends, honestly. I mean, me personally, I really wanted to see it in here when I was thinking that we could buy up off of these demands. But it's more of like this one closes lower low, you get a sign of strength, and then it closes really. It's kind of hard to see, but it closes lower, and that's kind of letting me know we have a chance to extend lower. We don't. I mean, and so, but you have to play it aggressively now too. So you have to know, say you take a sell on that 5 minute breaker, like this 5 minute breaker, right? If you take a sell on a 5-minute breaker, you got to make sure you've already secured your 1 to 3, no matter what. And I had lost a trade, so like in full. So like basically it was just, you know, I'm gonna secure my 1.5 as much as I can, pretty much. But those lows, that previous day low looks just more doable. So I'm just kind of watching now. But if we do get down there, like say this, like this doesn't become the dump candle on the 5-minute here, right? Let me move this out of the way. Like if this becomes the dump candle on the 5-minute here, like it starts to close strength, then this could be the area that we were looking for from a higher time frame perspective to find that long position. Okay, and so like when I'm looking at like a 4-hour, we're perfectly in the 4-hour area to see the long, right, play out from here off this demand. So I'm also like playing from both perspectives, if that makes sense. But sometimes stuff is just so fast, you have to react. Just to be honest. But it's still, even if you sold the 24,898, so like that 24.9 area, you're sitting at like a 1 to 3, so you could be off the board right now, you know, because I still anticipate buys. Okay, so like my position just closed down a full 1 to 3, right, and that puts me back on the board. Right, so I can take the position if I want this buy. Otherwise, I'll just settle for a very small win, a little less than 0.5. Okay, so let's lock back in because I still think we're gonna get that push back up between now and 11:15. So this was a low of day. So as they're starting to pump that price, right? Let me watch. Look at how this is playing really quick. I don't want to miss the move, but just kind of showing it here. You guys see how we're playing into the 4-hour demand, right? We're in that 1-hour demand, right? 20 level, right? Market loves to buy 20 levels, sell 80 levels. So if I see some really clean, just because I got back to a profit on that, I'll play it. But if I don't see it super clean from here, then I'll wrap it up today. But I think we got a chance still. Okay. Now, as we continue lower, if we are, one thing when price breaks structure on expansions, like on a 15.5, you really want to focus on the fair value gap on the way down, right? And so like this 5-minute fair value gap to here is kind of like in this area, like it's like this 5-minute candle from here to its low, it's filling the gap and kind of rolling over. Right, so I could have probably stayed break even on those the rest of that short, but like I said, I wanted to make sure I was back into the green for the day personally. But like I said, I still like previous day lows for us to still possibly find a buy here while we're on stream. Unless this plays out, we'll see. We'll see if the structure plays out here, because this is a good higher time frame area. Okay, that was a good 5-minute close. There's a 1-minute midi on that side. Let me check here. All right, just kind of monitoring what this would look like. Okay. Making sure I'm monitoring my 5 over here. Now I'm just monitoring this. This looks pretty good. But do I want to risk profits for it? Good. That's the question. Okay. I like where it's at on a higher time frame. I really do. Let me pull this down slightly here, just to kind of look at the low of the market here. Okay. Now, we already have that 5 minute close, so that's a good sign. Let me write this down here. So that's the one thing I do like about it right now. Just nothing's showing me on small time frames yet that I would want to take this one. I like how she's starting to build here in the 32s. Really watching this 1 minute, because if they fill the imbalance right under, or if they're going to hold this area here at 38. Watching these 40s. Five minutes not looking too strong. Let's see. Check ES really quick. ES looks weak. YM's weak. ES is really close to previous day low, so let's see. Ooh, it's cold. Not seeing it yet. Let's see. They're starting to turn on a little bit. Let's see. I kind of like those 44s. Let's see. Just trying to see how they look from here. I'm sitting at just a little bit green, so I like the location on this, guys. I'm gonna attempt those 44s. Okay. Let's see here. They gave me 44. There's a little high on that 1 minute. Let's see. Here. It's like right before it expanded out, so we're just not getting that 5 minute strength that we want. Everything just might be burr. What did I say? Yeah, I'm getting closer to that point, Philip. The shorts down pretty much brought me back a little bit, so. The only thing I like about this is the H1 and H4 location for some short covering. Reason being is because I covered my full short when I covered that position from 900 down to where we're at, and so I figured a lot of people probably covered their full position. We get back to 900s. I mean, that would be basically those shorts getting stopped out, right? So. Yeah, that's what we were looking at today. 15 minute. It was at like 9 to 9:15 a.m. Didn't. That's why I'm not favoring like this could work just because I feel like it's where it's at location wise H1. Like if you look at it from this perspective, we're inside that candle that we want to be in. So that's why I'm anticipating that we still get at least a push back up to 900s. But the 5 minute candles would go ahead and start to uh, fire up here, right, and start to go above the 870s fairly quickly if that's going to work out. And my entry is 43. Sorry. Where does it have this here? Or excuse me, I'm saying here. It's right here. So like I took it on a 1 minute, which was it's not as great. I just don't think the 5 minutes have the juice right now. Especially with ES about to roll over at 67.25. It's just really, really tight there. Yeah, they're gonna come for that area. Watching 1 hour still. They come for this one though. Like I said, I had just got back to a profit, so if this puts me at a small loss, then I'll just call it that for the day. Alright. Yeah. Come on, dude. Those 15s are getting weak after the break, so let me draw this really quick. What the heck? Come on, dude. Still watching this area though. Like this is a good 15-minute dump. And the way they're playing that 1 minute is interesting. So look at the lows. That's what I'm going to be focused on here is the lows. And if I get that 1 minute sign of strength or that signal for me to get in, that's what I'm looking for. Because they're going to trick people at these lows, and I like the higher time frame area a lot. So I'm down one R though at this moment, just so you have an idea. Let me look at ES on H1. Hurry up. Okay. Just watching this 5 here too. Still, like I said, it's still like this area, guys. Especially if 5 minute can turn on. Here we go. Alright, so like in those 40s, that's a good area, okay? Potentially here. And then having like, so say you have our entry of, what is it, 40? So entry would be like in here inside that 5 minute candle with risk there, okay? Make sure you have your predetermined number already ready. Because they would need to mitigate out of this area if it's going to work. I like the 1 hour, I like the 4 hour, okay? Look at it, like I said, from this area here. You're right inside that 4 hour area, so we'll do this really quick. And then what is this, the 1 hour? So we want to see if price can basically stay above this blue line, we'll move this LOD. All right. But if price can stay inside that higher time frame demands open and show strength, then there's a likelihood that people who shorted the breakout, kind of where my situation was where I took profit, then you're going to see them get ran fairly quickly because they shorted the breakout. Now we'd have to see some 5-minute strength, like price start to build like structure if this is going to work out. And then anything back above New York Open essentially is a 1 to 5 R, so that's a pretty good trade. So watching this area here tight. You want to see that 1 hour start to wick away from the demand candle, and 15.5s gain some strength. I'm waiting till 10. Oh, nice. Yeah. I feel you. That's the only reason I'm looking at it is because it's the transitional time. So. Yeah, no problem, bro. That's the thing. It is FOMC, so that's why I'm saying I honestly was gonna cut it at just like $50 across each account, but I felt like I could leverage that here. And that way, I'd only be risking $100 on the day. And then I'd be at like 2R if this delivers, because I have that 0.5 essentially right now. So if I deliver this, that'd put me at like almost 2R. But they're not showing enough strength on that 5 if they're gonna do it. It would already be like pretty strong. It's almost looking more like they're filling the fair value gap on that 15.5 at the 850s, and they're wanting to roll. And so if they do that, like I said, I'll just accept a small loss on the day, and if they run it from previous day lows, and so be it, you know. Because it just looks weak on that 1 minute time frame right now. Write that down too. Yeah, the fair value gaps. ES is still tanking, and YM is reaching right now as well. ES is very close to previous day low. That's the interesting part here as well. Let me check this here. Yeah, ES's previous day low was like 67.15s. Okay. So just waiting here. Okay. not gonna get excited, but if we get to 1.5, then I'll be excited because then I'm gonna look to target the daily open at that point if they were to like blast up, back into the back into this range here of 24,900s. Because then if we can reach back into IB, then I would want daily open at that point. But you'd want to see, like I said, 5-minute price reaching fairly quickly for these 24,880s if it's going to turn around here in this 1 hour and 4 hour demand. And if shorts are covering, which 10:30 is when the London closes, so people who shorted London are like up in here, and so they've been holding on the shorts for a while now. So either they're not done and price will roll over, right, to go a little bit lower below 24.8, or they'll start to cover here. But the 5 minutes not really showing me the strength that they want to take it higher yet. Like I need to see, like I said, a candle close above at least 850s for that to be the case. It just looks more and more like this became like an inversion of a fair value, but we're gonna see, right? Like, but when this candle dropped, they filled it with like this candle here, so there would have been like a imbalance basically that they filled, but we'll see. The 15-minute has what, 7 minutes before it closes too, so yeah, it's a lot of time. With the 1 hours and YM's just sinking right now, so. We get to the 1.5, I'll go over the small time price action. Right now I don't even want to show it just because I don't want to jinx the trade. Okay. And you said I'm waiting, way of the warrior. You said you're waiting till 10. I'm hoping 10 a.m. buyers step in this thing, to be honest. That'd be awesome. Good 5-minute candle right there, right? So shift in price delivery on the 5. That's a good sign potentially that they could reach back up to the most recent supply. But we'll see. We're rejecting, like, wicking off that 4-hour demand and 1 hour demand, so you'd like to see a nice strength candle on 5-minute here from 850 up to the 900 level or close to like the 890s, because essentially they're still inside this 5-minute fair value gap, so they kind of filled it, but they need to like fill it with bodies to me. Okay, I like the 5 and 15-minute price here going into 10 a.m. So if they can just find some buyers here in these 850s, that would be awesome. And then I really like if we can find some real fast buyers. Like I said, anything back above New York Open is a good TP, and it's plus 5R. All right. 24, 850. Let me try this really quickly. Now, let's hopefully we don't get the screenshot curse, because I almost want to lock off this area, but I'm going to keep accepting the risk until we get to my 1.5 right now today. I'm going to plot this area though. Price level is, it's actually a little lower. I got 35s. Okay, so when you look at really quick, all right, you look at a higher time frame and you look at the plot, 1 hour is starting to wick away from demand, right? And then you're also starting to wick away from demand on 4 hour, which is the signs of short covering potentially. Okay, so your intraday is doing bullish price action when you're responding at a higher time frame location. Okay, so because I have a still a small win on the day and my entry's at 35, I'm probably going to trail my risk to break even, guys, on this one, because either we're getting ready to deliver that 1.5 or we'll come back to my entry. But it's up to you, depending on your entry. Like if you got the 850s, you probably got to accept some risk, right? Because your trade would be like this, so you kind of have to accept some risk. But if you got anything in that 35 to 40 range, then I'd say you're pretty good. So looks like we get that 900 to deliver. We're gonna get another 1.5 to deliver. Okay, so that'd be a good sign. Okay, off that low. I'm just marking this area here now. Okay, this 5. I'm pointing at this area here. This 5-minute candle from 55 to 10. Okay, it should be good. Anything from this level, from this 5-minute candle or lower, you should be risk off. Okay, I think we're gonna be off to the races. Let's go. Right, 1 to 5 will deliver here, and I'm really wanting them to get right back above here and hit the 25,000 level. Okay, that's where my TP is sitting right now. Yeah, bro, I had to bounce back, baby. Don't sign off yet, baby. Higher time frame locations, baby. Don't sign off yet. Yes, sir. Stick with it. Stick with it. I'm gonna buy. So yeah, stick with it. Okay, so we're looking for that 1 to 5 to deliver, because I think this is a really good spot when you look at, like I said, H1. But make sure you've secured some of the bag here. All right. What do they call it again? Okay, and then I would say anything above, if you have, make sure you secured the bag, right? Make sure your partial has come off. Mine was already set, so I'm break even for sure now on the remainder. So it's either my remaining partial will go. So here's how it looks. Sorry. That remaining partial will go, right, and keep delivering up to like higher time frame areas that I want, or it's gonna come back and break me even. Okay. But looking at that H1, that doesn't look like, how they're respecting the supply and that old low from the 900 level. That doesn't look as great, okay? But I'll let it play out. And then my entry is, well, since the partial went, it was 35. Since the partial came off, it's at 30, 36. So my risk is sitting, like I said, at the bottom of this. I'm going to move this one just for a second, guys. The bottom of this 5-minute candle, which is going to be the 5-minute low is 24,841 and a quarter, right? So my risk is sitting right there, because like I said, that's pretty much break even for me from the 35s. It's all good, bro. It's timing. A lot of it's timing, right? So like when we go back to here, I usually clock out around 11:15. I just know that based on that 4-hour directional play, shorts should cover inside that area. And so when I see that, then I'm focused on my 1 hour, like here, to be more like specific. And so now we're starting to see the response. And then when you go back and you look at like a 15, 15.5, where we take a lot of our executions, you've got a 15-minute dump, sign of strength. And on the side of it, like now everything's fractal that I talk about, right? All the way down to 5 and 1 minute. So if you're targeting, like, let's just say you're targeting this area, and then you've got a 15-minute sign of strength on the right side of that. Like when I'm looking for 5 and 1 minute, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a 5-minute sign of strength and a 1-minute mitigation. Same thing on a 15. I'm looking for a 15-minute sign of strength with a dump candle that takes out traders. So the dump candle takes out traders, 15-minute sign of strength, and on that sign of strength, like on that right side, can I identify a 5-minute mitigation? And I could, right? And so like now I did say I'd go back over that 1-minute price. When you're looking at it from this perspective now, and you break down that dump candle and you got the sign of strength, now you're looking for 1-minute mitigations that you'd want to play. And so what they essentially did was they were dragging it down like this, right? They're dragging the price down like this, but what they're doing is I'm finding stack candles to where as soon as price shifts in price delivery, I can buy off that area, okay? And so like me personally, I was playing this candle. That's how I got the 35 entry, because I played the 50% of that entry, if that helps. But my eyes have seen, middies and RSV setups so much that's what my course will be over. You guys are seeing it kind of early, so. So we've secured a winning day again, no matter what, and now we're just going to manage the rest of this position, okay? Warrior, Way of the Warrior, drop a 1 if you can hear me now. Sorry, I was talking away from the mic potentially. We're pumping, baby. Let's go. Now let's take a look at ES, okay? ES did very similar thing, but the only thing I don't like about ES, and I was looking at right before we got to previous day lows, they left these, equal lows, which are dangerous, okay? So low of day here, right? They left that low of day, and then the 1 hour looks a little bit different. It is respecting the demand area, but it's just I don't like it as much, me personally. I like MQ, but that's all the time pretty much, so. Okay, cool. It looks really good now too, because if you look at a daily, once you plot a position, like I'm looking here on my left, you want to know that you're bottom ticking the day, right? Buying low and selling high. So essentially, right, like, yes, I may have lost trades throughout the session, but as long as you're keeping your R multiples and you're taking that partial, psychologically you're putting yourself in an advantage, okay? And so by taking that partial already again here, I really didn't even want to because I was already up on the day, but we're about to hit the 5R spot. So here's a tip, right, or a mantra you can follow. If you're feeling good about yourself right now and prices at New York open, protect or pay yourself. Yeah, Way of the Warrior. Now, you literally said it right in the comments. I was going to say, if you feel good about your trade right now, and you're floating about, you know, this is a 1 to 3 here, right? This is a 1 to 4. If you close your half down of your volume right now, you'd be closing down at least 2R plus the 1.5 you already secured on the way up. So yeah, nothing wrong with that. Me personally, I'm looking for a lot of sell side to be right here above 25,000 whole level, and my TPs on futures are going to be set for daily open. So I want to essentially see price by 11:15 a.m. when I clock out. I want to see price back above this wick right here and this price structure where they created this inefficiency, this fair value gap here at the 25,000 level. Now understand too where your 1 to 3 is, where your 1 to 2 is. If you don't want to give up anything, like you don't want to give a break even up at all, move your risk from your entry to 1 to 2 and just let it ride, right? Because then you're still securing 1R on your partial, and that's one loss day, essentially, or one loss in a session that you're basically recovering. But me personally, like I said, guys, I'm looking to take this to about a 1 to 8 remainder, right? To this area here, to daily open would be like a 9, I believe, right? Like let's say that. So, you know, 10R would be here, getting inside this inefficiency right above the daily. That's asking for a lot, you know, especially with how price. I'll show this really quick. Where's it at? How structure has made this lower low. But like I said, if this is the area on higher time frame that they really want to take, then this 15-minute dump will hold up bullish, and we'll see 5-minute candles continue to print. So if anything, right, you have this entry here, you could trail your risk up, risk off as 5-minute candles open, right? So like you use the prior bar, right? How much you partial? I usually do 1.5 or 1.6 and then go top. So whatever you're using, I'm gonna cut 50% of the volume. So let's say you're using on CFDs, for example, let's say you're using $4 a point. When it gets to that 1.3 spot, I'm gonna cut $2 of the move off and let the $2 run. All right, now if you really want to track this really tight, you could be tracking based on 5-minute candle closures, right? Because this is still closing bullish. So you'd want to secure at least from your entry to these lows would be about 50 handles, okay? But let's see how they respond here at New York Open. All right, now I'm going to take some of this stuff off just because I need to be able to see some stuff here with my eyes. Okay. All right, because that is a good 5-minute fair value gap and a 15-minute little fill, so. We're inside of a 1-hour supply, rejecting too. So let me check ES, because ES is the one that had the equal lows, so, or relatively. So we'll see here. So like I said, if you're worried about anything, I would say this 15-minute low could be a good risk off area if you don't want to risk anything. I'm personally holding to the TP, but I'm just kind of giving you guys a safe area as well. And so my partial is mathematical, Philip. It's going to be at the 1 to 3. Because it's going to secure if I do 50% volume off at 1.5. And then if I let it run to the 5R with the remainder, right, half of 5 is 2.5, and I've already secured 1.5. So I'm just trying to secure 3R plus on the day. Yeah, a good minimum target though was that New York Open, Way of the Warrior. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a great area. And that's why I said protect or pay yourself at point of interest, because you're essentially up 4 times what you risk already in that spot. So there's not. I mean, that's a great trade, especially if you had max volume on. Yeah, no problem, bro. And a lot of the times, what it does, Philip, too, psychologically, is when you close that 1.5 R, and then it comes back to your break even, and then you take your next setup and you lose 1 R, you're still up 0.5 R. So then you're more likely to take another trade that day, but you're also still in the rounds of like, you know, managing risk and doing it the right way, instead of like, oh shit, you say you're gonna risk $200 a day, you're down 600, and then you take another trade. That's when shit gets bad, right? And so that's why I keep it mathematical like this, and I think it really helps out. So we'll manage into 10:15 here. See how this 15-minute candle closes. See how this 5-minute candle closes. If it starts to get weak from New York, then one candle weak isn't bad. But if they like start to print lower and it just starts to reject, then that's pretty much probably it. So I really just want to see this 5-minute close. That looks pretty bearish. Watching this area here. Okay, let's see how this. See it close one candle is fine. Now, if you're worried about anything, either this 5-minute area is gonna hold or it's gonna just roll over below its low. So I would say that you could use the prior bar low as your risk if you have a remainder here. So like the 887s. Let me see what that looks like on the 1 minute. It's kind of in that 1 minute demand. I don't like that, but that'd be the best next area is that prior bar low. Because if they're going to turn it on right here, this will turn into a RSV type of candle. This down candle will be a stack candle, and they'll just turn it on. Excuse me. And we are, excuse me, we are at 10:15, so we did get a good sign of strength in that area, and it didn't just reject and break structure yet. But if it was to break below this candle now, I would say that it's probably weak. It looks pretty good though still. We can see some 5-minute right here. ES still looks pretty strong right now. It's 67.38, it's like 67.40s. And it rejected off that 15-minute demand as well, and a quarter level 725. So five-minute looks weak, guys. Let's see. 900s is like the key level. That's why it's the key level. Really watching the 1 minute here at that 900 level as well. Want to see if they're going to turn it on, so I'll show you guys what I'm seeing. So I'm looking right here where they break out and seeing if they're going to like really hold this level. They'll start to really run back up to New York Open fairly quickly. But it's kind of breaking down. We'll see. Those 87s look good to lock off, I would say, to be honest. Because if they come back lower than that, then they're probably going to roll over on this partial. So again, 87s are like right here. Like right under this 5 minute candle's low. Yeah, those 87s look good, guys. Yeah, so I'm going to throw everything up to the 87s. So that'll still be a pretty good win on the day. But that way, if it does just roll over, I'm not susceptible anymore. And I can just walk away with a green day. So bam, they delivered the 87. So cool. If they continue up from here, guys, so be it, right? But at this point, when they go lower low, lower high, lower low, and they fail to create structure on that 5 minute, like you guys see the structure here really quick, right? We've got low, lower high, lower low, because it breaks that low right there, and then we go up, we shift in price delivery, right? We go above this candle here. Maybe it starts to play in here later today to go, but like I said, I would want to see from the position I took here, I want to see something like this. Like when it comes down and makes this low, I want to see that shift in price delivery so I can partial out of most of the move. And then if it wants to do something like that to continue to go, then great. But that'll be all for me today, guys. I know it was a little up and down. Like I said, we're still able to get out of here with a little bit of green for the day. We'll see what 1 p.m. has in store for us. I might stream during that today, but probably not. Right, I'll probably just do the trade review today. Let me see where I ended up at really quickly. Yeah, so at least 200 across the accounts. I mean, that's better. I'll take it, you know. And like I said, could have stayed risk off on this situation here. I do have the CFD position, so maybe the CFD will work out. But futures, you know, especially when it comes to Top Step or, you know, OPM, like other people's money capital, right? I'm just looking for small wins and building base hits. So yeah, we'll see what they end up doing. But I appreciate you guys hopping on again this morning. Be on the lookout, like I said, today for the trade review, where I'll go a little bit more in depth on some of this last position, and I'll go in depth on how that reversal short kind of worked out, because it was really just more of a quick move. And so, yeah, you guys too. Alrighty, I'll talk to you guys a little bit later, and have a good one. Last thing I'll say though before I dip out here, just so you guys know, because usually I trade till about 11:15 a.m. YouTube studio, is that now that I have that partial already met, I will say, you know, now that prices kind of went up and shifted on that 5 minute like this, your low of day becomes where all the buyer stop losses are going to be. So if they're going to extend down lower, just be careful, because it's only Wednesday, and so that 1 hour could reach down lower and go back into that price we talked about from the opening candle of the week, right? Because it was such a monster of a candle. 24,500, let's just say, up to 7. That was a 200-point candle almost on the very first candle. So we might be making our way back down to secure some people that bought. But the other part of this, like I said, is you're in a 15-minute dump, right? You've had the 5 minute, like this is what I like to look for on line graph. You have the 5 minute shift. So if at the right time here, so like 10:45, 10:45 going into like 11:15 a.m., if they're still holding this area, this essentially could buy up to still attack that 25,000 level. So just so you guys know, like, I'm gonna walk away from the computer now until after London close here at 10:30, and then around 10:45 a.m. There may be a chance in this area to play that. So I'll put something in the Telegram if I'm looking for that area. But yeah, so good day otherwise. I don't think they're done yet. And like I said, I would wait till 11:15. I don't know. Let's see. It's just a lot of time of sitting. I'll do some push-ups and think about it really quick. Tomorrow I'll have saved some ammo for my New York indices. Yeah, and then we have that news, so that's why I'm saying they're kind of playing around here. But this area looks so nice to find the area, right? Because like I'm gonna be upset if I just could have stayed break even on this from that entry down here and putting the risk here, because it looks like they're gonna do what we want them to do. But we'll see at 10:45. I'll probably stay on here till 10:45. Just because I know that time's a good transitional time. Oh, I'm so sore. Check ES really quick. ES is in the same area. Yeah, we'll probably stay on till 10:45. So. Yeah, the thing about ES is it's very similar. See how the 15-minute is? So they're respecting the dump candle, and then when you look inside that H1, they respect the demand. It's just their demand is shaped a little bit different, and so they could always slip the previous day low and then turn up. But from this perspective here, I mean, this could start to build. Okay. So let me sit here because London close is not a bad time to see it. I should have left a runner, low key. God, my first entry was great. So I'm just kind of looking at like this area, okay, 5 minute. Because our original entry was really good. Let's see what that 1 hour looks like. And I want to see here at 10:30. We didn't. Oh, snap. I'm glad you said that. Let's see how this 1 minute responds here. I'm watching small time frame right now. I might add into it from where I had earlier. I gotta be more for sure about it though. It looks good on that 15. If you guys like these 96s. I really like their original entry though, so that's what I'm trying to decide. But if they can hold some good 5 minute strength on the side of this, they'll blast this. They'll blast right back above this high. Excuse me. CFD now, I'm still holding that for whenever, pretty much. So if you guys like 96s though on futures, I kind of like this area. This is 91s, but even 96s were pretty good. I'm gonna see how that 1 minute's gonna play though, because it could dig into the 1 minute, but if they turn it on fairly quickly, then they'll go above that 931 highs. Let's see. Like I said, 1 minute could fill the imbalance at the 24,880s, but I want to see how this 5 minute candle closes here in 40 seconds. Let's see. That 1 minute looks like they're kind of wanting to fill the FEG. Let's see. Yeah, still in that same area. I was reading what I said. Yeah, that original, that CFD is probably going to rock if this one works out. So that entry is locked. London close. So basically you're saying London closes in an hour from now, right? Philip, that's what I'm understanding you're saying. Okay. So even though the 1 to 3s would be the 950s, like say you took another volume trade here, and you have your 1 to 3 at 950s, if price was to break up to New York Open before going lower, and go above this 5 minute high, I would definitely be break even. I'm just gonna be sad if my CFD is the one that locks today. I partialed the CFD though still, just in case, so. And I had a really nice runner from overnight last night that I trailed to buy. I had a buy that I trailed up. This 1 minute's not looking that great, so let's see if they're gonna come into 88s here. Come on, turn up, dude. Yes, still in the same area, 67.31s. They'll draw out price too, so that's why I was kind of like, damn, with FOMC. I still think those 850s are locked though, but this 15-minute candle did close weak right there, so this will be like the determining factor here. Going into the 15-minute close, I believe, of 10. Well, I think the 1 hour is this, is that we hit the demand candle perfectly, and then when you look at a 4 hour, we delivered that same level, but even better. So when I see 4 hour wicking away, that's usually a pretty good sign intraday that we're finding the short covering. All right. So I don't know. I mean, it would have to boost. You know, I'd have to see like them go structure wise. I'd want to see them go, and just to kind of show it here, boost through. You know, not even that high. That's way too high. Just a boost through these highs, right? Be break even on the remainder. Maybe it fills an imbalance and then continues up to the over 5 hour potential. I mean, we'll see. It looks pretty good, yeah. And the reason being is because, like, you see how I'm looking left, bro, and I'm looking at the 15-minute open, and I'm gauging my entry on the 5-minute off that location of the 15. So if I know I'm in a 15-minute demand candle, I know I'm in a higher time frame demand, then everything's fractal, and I'm gonna play down and play the right side of the areas. Now, it's not saying it's gonna for sure go here, right? But what we'd want to see is now this 15-minute like align with that 5 like this to the end of the day, and then see price play bullish in this area that I just highlighted. So if price can play bullish and reach on 15 above this wick, then we're definitely going to hit another 1.5, and then we're able to just let this play out and see if it's going to run up to higher time frame places. If that's right? So but make sure you have your stuff set, so if it runs up fast like that other one, you're able to just, it just delivers itself. But I'd have to see, like I said, I want to see some strength here if they're going to do it. That's a good 5-minute close for 35 to 40 or 30 to 35, so let's see. It's just not strong enough right now, because it's looking at it and having to understand multiple perspectives. Like, it could be what I just said. It also could be this is a like lower low supply candle, rejects the 50% of the supply and then rolls, right? So it could be both. That's it's the hard part about it. But it's just like my anticipation is for shorts to cover, because they've been up since, London London players have been up for a long time today. And if they're not going to get price to continue down, then they potentially could be pressing or putting buy limits in or pressing buy by market to take profit. And if they're doing that, then I'm on the other side of that playing with them, if that makes sense. I mean, if it just delivers even my 1.5 again, that's going to be a pretty fire day. So I had a small win on the board, but this would put me over 4R, I believe, if it was to deliver this. It put me a little bit under 4. And so I showed you guys the 15-minute area, but I really want to focus on this 5-minute area right here and see if we're going to continue to get the bullish price out of this area. It looks like it possibly could, and it looks like ES could reach above 67.44s. So like if ES can reach back into essentially this price, so this would have been the fair value gap that's above FEG right here. If it can reach into that, then I'm just gonna put imbalance right now. But if it can reach into that, great. But if it can't, and it's like rejecting that fair value gap area, like that was originally their fair value gap was here, and they rejected it and they roll over, they could do that, okay? But the remaining that's open, that's what I'm looking at. So we're just looking for a push above here, and we're going to protect ourselves. So I'm just gonna remind myself to do that if we can get that to work out. Yeah, we've been on for a while today. It's a little bit too long, to be honest, but I think we're gonna get a really good ramp up here going into this 11:15, and then that news could be the excuse to really run off today and secure more of that overnight short potentially. So and there's got to be lots of stop losses built where people sold the supply. I would think there has to be people's money, excuse me, right above here, okay? Because they came up, 5 minute supply from the New York Open, sells, price rolls over, right? They take profit, and then their stop losses are probably set, on that whole level. We would need to see some strength out of this. When's the 5 minute close? Oh, okay. Yeah, if it closes bullish, that's a good sign in this area. If it doesn't, but if it closes bullish and there's still 5 minutes left on this 15, I think we could reach up to minimum 950s. So. Okay, 5 minute closed bullish. We'll see. It's inside this supply here too, so you'd want to see it strong here if it's gonna push, and not just roll over. Because that 1 hour looks like a supply area in the 920s that could, also like I said, it could be this 15-minute fair value gaps area. So that this is like that major deciding factor here going into not. That's why I stayed on until 10:45, because every day I write down. The most transitional moment usually happens at 10:45 a.m. for the day. Yeah, it's not looking too strong. That 15, you'd want to see that 15 being a lot stronger than that. Like, you want to see that 15 closing above the old New York low and above this candle's open, the down candle. Like, you even want to see it printing above it, So could be absorption. Yes, that's pretty much what I when I see that dump candle on the intraday, I'm anticipating that it's possible absorption because of the location. That 5 minute, that key level is just holding strong today. And this is New York. Is that New York Open? I don't believe so. That's not. Sorry. This is just the open of that candle. So, which I'm gonna move this because it's kind of messing with me. I don't know why I was starting to think that was New York Open for a second. Shit. 5 minutes not looking too strong. 1 hour starting to turn into a wick. So, it could be a supply to move lower. We'll see. Yeah, it looked clean. We'll see. What time is it? Okay, cool. The 15 minutes gonna close too. If they go and just fill this imbalance, they can have it today. Because I'll leave my CFD on. I'll just would have stayed break even from the remainder. So for futures, but CFD, I'm sitting still with my risk at the this 5-minute candle, 9:55 to 10's open. What's up? What is it? I'll eat it in a second. I gotta watch this really quick. Thank you, babe. Come on, man. Last 15 minutes of the hour. Bless us up real quick. Okay, so this 15 and 5 is about to close. So if this 15 can close bullish, especially above 900, it's a pretty good sign they may want to go ahead and reach. But 5-minute needs to show me something as well here, like a strong rejection of that area, or like like the buyers that turn on. Like it's a bearish candle right now, so I'd want to see it at least wick like this, like end as a wick, and then the next candle turn on if it's going to turn on. But they're heavy. They're heavy on H1. Alright, 15 is getting ready to close. Let's see if it closes bullish or not. Is closing. 15 closed bullish, so let's see if they turn it on right here or roll. That's pretty much the deciding factor right now. We're just in a weird place on H1 as well. You'd like to see that 5-minute go above 900s if it's going to go higher. If it can't print above 900s, then that means it's wicking away from the H1 supply of 24,900, which is that 15-minute fair value gap. Looks interesting, we'll see. So anything back above that New York low, you guys see the NYL, L, and it has a L. If price on that 5-minute can start to print bullish above that level, then the likelihood of 25,000 or at least 24,950 goes up. For sure. But right now, that H1 is just not looking the greatest. Or 15 now. Starting to sink. That'll put me at what? $58 on the day. Ah, they're coming close to my area here. Let's see. Oh my Atlanta, bless us. Golly, dude. ES. Come on, dude. Breakout, coach. That 15 looks interesting here. Let's see. Like I said, just one good 5-minute push up, and I think we could get above. If we can get back above New York or these 900s, then there's a possibility. They're just really strong there. Take a look at ES here really quick. We'll see how they play that. What time is it? Okay, 10:50. It's getting close here. They're looking weak. That 1 hour looks terrible. How much longer does this 5-minute have? Okay, 15 seconds. They're just not looking strong. That 1 hour is kind of wicking away from that like candle. Just gotta see. We're too close to FOMC now too. Size this again. Okay, if they're gonna turn anything on, it's gonna be between now and 11:15 because 10:45 is hit. So between now and 11:15 is gonna tell us if we're gonna get to 950s or not, and I'll clock out of here no matter what at that time. Five minute looks terrible. Come on, man, make a decision. Even just getting above New York Open would be great. I mean, I would even like to see a 5-minute above 900s. That would be a better sign than anything, but they're holding that area pretty tight. It's just acting as a supply zone. 900s is a strong supply. It's all it is. That's why I like the original buy, and I was like, well, I'll add into it because I'll still be up, but I could have probably saved myself a little bit on futures there. I partialed CFD already, so I'm good on that. Okay, let's see here by 10:55. Let's see. Interesting buyers coming in here. I'm just gonna stay patient. Stay like I just don't care because every time I start caring, they want to turn it off. All right, 2 minutes left on this candle, and then we have another 5-minute candle for the 15, which will be at 11 a.m. So like I said, the most transitional moments happen usually around like 10:45 a.m. Central Time Zone here. And so that's why I stayed on today, because I usually trade till 11:15. So we'll see if they bless. That 15-minute price is terrible though. You know, like I'd want to see a 5-minute close here in this next minute, and then that next one like be the one that pushes up above 900 and maybe New York Open if it's gonna go bullish, because that 15 is just looking too difficult there. We can just get up to 950, so I'd be grateful to end the session like that too. So I've got my partial set for pretty much that area. Like I said, if we even touch that New York Open, if you have any entries below, like inside that 5-minute candle anywhere, I would be break even, just because they could literally come right up to that and then yerk. Okay. I like it though. I like that 15 location. Let's see if it can do the dance. The good buyers coming in here at the right time, right? 5-minute close, shift in price delivery. You guys see how that did that? There's a good chance now, just like yesterday when I identified this, because of how this candle just closed, right, on structure, that's a good sign that potentially this could turn on. Right, they might want to dig again first, but there's a good chance that they turn it on right here. Potentially here. It's either that's the last little high they're gonna make and they roll, or or that's kind of like showing you a sign that they want to go up to 950. All right, I'm gonna move that though because it's gonna drive me crazy to see it right now. For some reason, I can't like look at it. But I'll just identify that for you guys. Like when I see that little subtle change, that's something that I like to see on that price. And then let's check ES. All right, ES on a 5-minute. It didn't do that same thing. It got close. Well, I guess it did. It engulfed on the 5, so that's still pretty good for ES. See if they can take it up there for us really quick. $15 looks good right now, as of right now. So just getting above that wick high would be great. Can they press the New York Open, essentially, is what we're looking for here. Now they could go lower. I mean, like I said, because that 5-minute sign of strength, or that shift, is kind of letting you know, like, either they're trying to fake people out at that New York low to get them to, to get them to buy this breakout, and they're not already in the demand, and so they'll kind of shake them out, like by pulling back into the like the box zone. But if this is the right area on this 5-minute close, we should extend up, and that 15-minute will go bullish through the New York Open and like push up to 940s, possibly like 930s. But you want to see that 15-minute close no matter what, if it's gonna go above the New York initial low, so basically 24,900. But it's not really looking that great at that area. It's starting to break. Let's see. If they slide from right here, that's exactly what they did, basically. That 15 minute is just really respecting that 900. So is that 1 hour. We'll know by 11:15 what they're gonna do. Fifteen's kind of turning on there. That's a good sign. Make sure I have my 1 to 5 marked over here too. Alright, and then 1 to 5 would basically be getting to the 25,000 level, so would be nice, a nice little banga. It's turning on kind of nice right now. Let's see. I need the structure break, guys. I get the 5 minute straight break of structure at the 929s, then at least I'm gonna make sure I'm break even from 89s here. 90s, let's just say. Alright, 5 minute, 15 minute close about to load. So let's see if that 15 minute can close above New York low blue line. That's a good sign that we could at least reach above. Come on. Need that 15 minute to close above that blue line. That's going to be better for us here. Starts rejecting, then that's just like not good. It closed bullish, but it wasn't like convincing. Yeah, I don't know. Created like a lower high on the 5 minute. So this is like that area they're going to make the decision. They still have that fair value gap at the 850s. That's the only thing I don't like about this one. That they might want to fill before going. Gosh, come on, dude. Lower high right here too, so it's just they tried, I think. I'm just gonna be mad if my CFD lasts today over anything. Yeah, it's not looking too good with that way that structure, the way that closed. We want to see that 5 minute breakthrough, so to the C, man. Yeah, 5 minute looks weak. 15 minute, right, didn't close, so it's just gotta wait and see. 11:15. It just looks heavy on 15 back to the imbalance, so it is what it is. The original entry was really good. Inside the 4 hour demand, that was a really good one, I will say. Up to New York Open, that was pretty good. Just too much of a fair value gap right here. What time is it? 11:02. Okay, let's watch this 5 minute close here. Man, somebody tell that algo guy to come back in and say price is gonna sell. So we can get a ramp up. Yeah, that 5 minutes heavy. Super heavy. Turn on the algos, come on. Let's show us something here by the 11:10, that macro. Okay, let's watch this 5-minute close. If they can start to close inside this range, there's potential. But that 900 level is super strong as resistance right now, so I need to see something above New York, like I said, if it's gonna go. That FEG at the 850 level is just too open. I feel like they're gonna rally to it fast too if they do it. Like they rally down to that FEG at 850s real fast, and then that'll be a. But I'll leave the CFD on this one. I'll just accept the small win on the day because this is cutting into my my entry from the 840s essentially. Risk is at 70.25, so it's just 71, but it's at 70.25. It's right inside that 1 minute demand, unfortunately. Unless we turn them on, come on, do it. I'll take a look at ES. Actually, no, I'm not. Wait a second. 5 minute looks too heavy right here with 3 minutes left. ES looks weak and has those equal lows. It's probably gonna roll. So they swipe the equal lows on ES, right? And then we don't take the lows and we're filling that fair value gap on NQ. Realistically, that could be like a divergence play as well. And if they don't hold this area. If they hold this area, then they could sweep the lows and they hold this area. Who knows? But we'll see. We'll know here, like I said, by 11:15. How much longer is it? 15 now? 15 looks heavy too. Come on. They're just hanging in that spot for too long. That's just the only problem I would say. It's taking too long. You would see it run from your area fairly quickly and break structure, and we just didn't get that, so. I just feel like they want that 850s. happened there. Okay, so this 5-minute close. Let's see here, because if it's bearish, then they're gonna fill the imbalance. Like I could see them moving down there fast and then just turning around. Because even if you had those original 840 entries or 820s, like we looked at, like down there in where the sniper little thing is, if you had your risk right at break even if it comes and fills this 850 imbalance and turns around, price would probably still keep you in, or not probably, it would keep you in that trade. So, all right, 25 seconds on this 5-minute. Let's see. That 15 is getting heavy. H1 starting to kind of get heavy. So that might be it for me on futures. But again, like I said, I was playing into the win. I took the full 3R on that New York Open top, so it's not so bad. Are they kidding right now? Come on, dude. 5-minute lower low, that's a sign of weakness. I mean, that's showing you that price could definitely move to the fair value gap now. So cool. Yeah, I came for that area. I'm going to stay on till 11:15 just because I feel like they're going to fill the fair value gap area. But I'm up just literally 54 bucks, so might call it a day. But let's see how they fill. Let's see if they fill the gap, because all they did was hit the 1-minute area, the 1-minute demand, and that was just like a shitty risk area for me in a sense. So I'm gonna watch that area tight. And we're inside the 15-minute area as well, so. I really still like the area, guys, but we'll see here. The 5-minute looks really good still, and it's, like I said, it's because of where I'm just looking like at this area. It's because of where that 1-minute risk placement was, right? That risk placement was inside of demand. So for it to slip down and just tap that area and turn, we'll see if price can build on this side. I'm just kind of watching. I would like it to come a little bit lower though and fill that 850. So that's why I'm also watching how this 5-minute plays. It looks good though. And this is why I said I stay on until 11:15, because this is what they'd like to do. It's a timing thing. Okay. See if they wake away here. Like I said, I was $54 in profit right before this trade. So if this area slips and goes to 850, I'd be at a small loss for the day. So, is what it is. I like it right now. If they can just, they'd have to 5-minute really get to New York Open and not come back to 900 and just roll again. It looks pretty solid. I do want to just map out the 1 to 5 from this zone too, just to have the idea here and know. Alright, so that'd still be back to where we talked about earlier. where a lot of people shorted inside that supply. So this would be until, let's say till 1. You'd want to see this happen by like 1 o'clock, okay? So see, remember, like I said, this does work out on this one. 15-minute demand, 5-minute demand, there's shift in price delivery, and then they just kind of dig on people on that 5 and 1 minute. But then they know that, like say we took that 5-minute area, that my risk ended up being right there in that area, which was, this just is what it is, part of the game. But retaking that same entry, right, from the perspective of where you're at, you're still just trying to see an eyeball of 1 to 3. And like, I think based on how people would have shorted here, I'm gonna at least get that that 1 to 3, or excuse me, 1 to 5, because it's gonna be it'll be half the partial. So that puts me back, $54. 0.5 is basically like 100 and some bucks. So that's pretty good if that partial delivers. So it's either I'm risking basically essentially my $54 profit that I have across the accounts, like I have on each one, or or we go up and deliver this 1.5, and then I'm able to go break even. But this 15 minutes is gonna really let me know, because they could just roll it right here. This is the area. I do like that 5-minute price though, how it played again strong. Check ES here really quick. ES still playing pretty strong too, so it's just difficult on how they're gonna do it. The 15s look terrible. Look how it looks like that. It looks terrible. Looks like less likely. All this, and like I said, the CFD position probably just sits there all day. Crazy. Nah, it's coming back. And fast too. So fast, just kind of letting us know, right, that they probably want the fair value gap. Freaking noob. Let's see. No matter what, since we started around 8:30, I'm going to close out the session here. But I do want to see this these next like 2 5-minute reactions. See if we can rise above here. $900 has been really strong all day. So if you start to see that 15-minute wick and that 5-minute candle start to print above 900s, that's going to be a good sign that this area will hold up to 950s. But just remember, like I said, we have that fair value gap below us at the 850 level. So we need to see, for this area to play out, I would say we would need to see this type of structure. Like it needs to break and continue to hold. So like if it was to do something like this where it's at, great. But if it's starting to do what it's doing now, right, coming up and then, coming up to like here and then rolls over, then essentially it's making, it's going to continue that run of lower low, lower high, right? If it's going to go lower. But if we get that push on through, that'll be a sign that we might roll up, like go higher. So just got to see here. I like it right now. So this is kind of what it looks like for me on the entry of 882s now. So I'm just like right inside that that 5 minute candle. And I'm just looking for it to literally just reach right above the area and go back above New York Open. If not, so be it. You know what I mean? So. We just had a lot of time here at 900s. Let's see here, how long actually? 9 a.m. to, was it 11? Yeah, so this 5 minutes not really playing that well. Nine hundreds is, I mean, they're just acting so strong at 900s. I need to see a close above it. That was a 5 minute close above it right there, but that's an indecision candle, so that's not the best candle. Let's see here, see if it opens up with some strength here and just blast these shorts. That'd be fire. Turn on the Jets. Let me check ES really quick. ES, really good strength right here, potentially too, to go fill the fair value gap. So let's see if they can turn them on or not here. Let's watch them side by side here really quick. See if we can see some strength here in the markets. So I have 4 contracts and I moved 2 of them because my entry was in those 82s. I moved 2 of my contracts into profit. Just so like if it does continue to go, I'll be able to manage half volume instead. Okay. So basically just move 2 into profit wherever you're at, and then I'm leaving the risk on the remainder on the other ones. But that way it can cut down the risk number here because we've been sitting here for so long. And I need to be out of here, so. Now we got to remember FOMC is at 1, so that's another reason why I'm reducing that risk down, because they could just be holding the price here because of FOMC. 82s. But we delivered through this area. That's going to be that 1.5, and then I'm break even on the remainder, and then I'll talk about what I want to do with CFD going into the news if we get the break above 929s. We're still at the same area doing nothing. Let me see what this looks like for today. I was like, what? Let me take some notes here and Obviously, it's FOMC shit price. Okay, this 5-minute close is here. Let's see if it closes above 900s again. Okay, that's all we're trying to see. If it slips back into the demand or back to like these areas, then it's has a potential. It's making lower lows and lower highs get roll. All right, but for some reason it's not just falling off a cliff. Okay. All right, 5-minute close. That 5-minute looks weak on the close. Come on, dude. Make your mind up. Yeah, weak close. Those 900s are strong, guys. Make a decision, coach. So like I said, make sure you at least cover half the position, because then we can play out the remaining volume on the way up. I don't want to accept the full 1R on this. It's coming very close. Alright, so like I said, we're gonna hop off at 11:30 no matter what. So let's hope the trade gods bless the 5-minute here and just push it up. Get a good 15-minute close bullish, that's a good sign. Because then if that 5-minute breaks above 900, then I think, like I said, we'll deliver 950s. Possibly even 25,000 whole level. But if that 15 closes bearish one more time, I'd be like, I'll let it just play out. I'm not going to watch it. Either I'll get the alert or I won't. $900s is just acting so strong as a resistance. It's ridiculous. It's 67.36 on ES is acting as resistance still too. So watching this area tight here. I don't like the low resistance lows that are below me on the 15.5 there, but we're accepting the risk. $84s is where my partial would come off. So like where it would break me to half of my order. So that's where I'm gonna leave that. So if they do that, and then I'll have 2 contracts running with the same stop loss. So it knocked me down to 2. So now like I had a little bit in profit on my order, and so my entry now is showing from, make sure that's right, 82s. Okay, so make sure. And so I have 2 contracts running from 82s, and then since it's half volume, the only thing I'd want on the remainder of this is going to be either the 1 to 3 or 1 to 5. So somewhere in that 982s, if they still delivered higher, great. If they go and fill the fair value gap here, oops, where's it at? Am I that much of a noob? I thought I knew that. Where is that at? Okay, I'm a noob. But if they go and fill this gap here, basically, then I could see them bouncing that later today just because of how the 5 minutes dragged out, and it's before FOMC. So we'll see. But that'll be it for me today, because I'm going to let that either play out to the 1 to 5 zone, or it's going to come and just take me out inside that fair value gap. So appreciate you guys watching. We'll be on again tomorrow, same time, same place, and hopefully we get a little bit better price than FOMC. Now if this runner, like I said, completes, I'm looking to get out, and I'll drop stuff in the screenshots in the Telegram of this area of 24,983s, and it's starting to respond now. So that's why I'm glad I reduced the risk, because my average risk is 160. So what I did essentially across the accounts is I just reduced the risk when it hit me in profit down to $80 across. So it still would put me $34 negative on the day if this one delivers. But if it delivers here, this would put me back up 200 across each account, which is not bad. So is what it is. This one really was the one that put me up today. Was when we took that 9:45 blast up to New York, and then closing the full 3R. So yeah. So appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you guys on the next one. Dun, dun.